How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? You know, usually when I do my blog, I'm involved in turbulent political issues and issues of conflict and great disturbances to people where I sound opinionated and intense and determined to prove a point. But here I want to talk about something to you that's a lot more casual than that. But nevertheless, to me, I think it's just as offensive as some things are politically, because there's certain things that happen in our society that are so preposterous or ridiculous and unnecessary or irrelevant, and nobody cares because it's already here, so they accept it. It's a way of life, and they make the best of it, and nobody stops to wonder, does it make sense or not? Why don't they wonder if it makes sense or not? For instance, an example I'm talking about is calling up a guy and getting an answering machine. Now you say to yourself, well, it's so incidental and meaningless. Who cares if you get an answering machine? But did you ever notice that most of the people say, ugh, I hate to talk on an answering machine when I don't get the person and I have to leave a message and listen to those stupid kind of instructions on an answering machine. I find it boring or nauseating or repulsive or stupid. It doesn't kill anybody, but why is it necessary? Why don't you stop to think when people call you on their answering machine? Why can't you try to make sense instead of saying the same thing that everybody else says that's so stupid and preposterous and unnecessary? Have you ever stopped to think how ridiculous and stupid you sound when somebody calls you on your answering machine? When you're not there, what does your answering machine say? You are calling the home. Now, ordinarily you talk just like me, or you can't talk at all, or you talk like a guy on the street. Why do you feel it's necessary, just because you're on the answering machine, to prove you sound like Winston Churchill or Anthony Eden or Clark Gable? Some people try to sound like Lana Turner. They try to sound like anything as long as they don't sound like themselves. You betray the fact that you must think you're a moron and you sound like an idiot if it's good enough to talk to people that way when without a machine. Why is it when you're on the machine, all of a sudden you have to change your identity completely and sound like a totally different person? Why? Do you sound so stupid or terrible or disgusting that you have to all of a sudden take a whole new identity just because your voice is on the answering machine? As soon as you hear somebody talking on the answering machine, you could never recognize their voices. Hello, you are calling the home. Who talks like that? You are calling the home of Lily and Flegel Teiteltaub. We are currently not at home, but if you leave your name and your number and the time that you called, and you're saying to yourself, who is this schmuck? I never heard this voice before. This can't be the same guy I'm calling. Then they start giving you instructions. I'm sure you're one of the people who do the same thing. You start giving people instructions like you have to be a moron, or you think the other person listening to you is a moron. If you think that that's their brain power, that they're that stupid, you shouldn't be your friend in the first place. Everybody starts giving you instructions like the person listening to you is an idiot, or they have a mentality that stopped working a long time ago. Everybody tells you the same thing. Leave your name. Now, is it necessary to tell somebody to leave their name? How offensive could you be, and how stupid do you think the person is who's listening to you that you have to tell them to leave their name? What else would you leave if you didn't tell them? What would you leave? A plate of soup? Leave your name, leave your number. If you have to tell them to leave their number, you're trying to tell the guy he's a complete sicko or a moron. He should be in a sanitarium. If he doesn't know that he should leave his number, then you say, leave the time that you called. That's the most offensive thing of everything. Leave the time? Don't you think it's presumptuous and arrogant to tell a person to leave the time that they called? If I want to call a person, I have to become his timekeeper. What if I don't know what time it is? Should I call him? Maybe I shouldn't call him. A guy once said to me, how come you never call me? I said, I didn't know what time it was. I was afraid to call you. Why are you obligated to tell somebody what time it is? You know when you leave the house. When you left the house, do you know when it was? Are you that stupid that you don't know when it was? Well, that was the time. And if that was the time, you should know it. If you don't know it, then you're a moron. Then why do I have to tell you what time it is? Leave the time. When they call you back, do they tell you the time? When you call somebody back, do you ever say to them, 9:30, how are you? You ever meet a guy on the street, 4:30, what's happening? Whoever tells anybody the time, why is it only on a machine that all of a sudden the time becomes that important? And you have to make sure you know the time. You're not somebody's timekeeper just because you gave them a call, and the next time somebody tells me leave the time, I'll leave a message for him. Drop dead, and I hope you spend the rest of your life without toilet paper. Here was another thing they tell you. Please please talk after the tone. That's the one thing that everybody says. Please talk after the tone. Let me ask you a question. Machines are around about 40 years already. Do you know anybody that's stupid that they don't know that you talk after the tone? Who doesn't know it? Do you know anybody that's stupid? Please talk after the tone. Let's be honest. Do you know one machine where you talk before the tone? There's no such machine. It hasn't been invented yet. By this time, everybody knows it. Okay, after the tongue. Let's be honest about it. On a refrigerator door, does it say first open the door before you put your hands in the refrigerator? Did somebody have to explain it to you? Before you go swimming, does it ever say in front of a pool, please put the water in, then jump into the pool? Don't jump in without the water. First put in the water, then jump. How come it doesn't say on the spoon, first open your mouth, then put in the spoon? How come they don't tell you that? Does everybody become a moron only when there's a machine involved? Every place else there's such a genius. If they were a genius every place else, they didn't suddenly become a moron just because there's a machine involved. And the next time I told you, if you got a machine working like that that gives me these instructions, I'm going to look for you, I'll find you personally, and I'll destroy your life wherever you live, and you'll never be able to talk to anybody again.